Hi, Miss Sherri. Thank you for being here. How do we find the terrifying longing when you feel especially lost for a pretty long time? That is a really beautiful question. I'm going to go back to, I wish I knew how to say your name. Could you unmute your mic and tell me?
Just call me Anu.
Anu. Okay.
Yes.
Anu, thank you.
Thank
Yes, thank you so much. So I'm going to go back because the finding the terrifying longing is a little bit outside of the scope of this, but I want you to hold on to that, okay? The foundation is that you have one. You don't necessarily need to know what it is right now to benefit from this talk, to benefit from this conversation. I want you to wait until the end, because as we go through, I have a feeling you're going to be reminded of some of those stirrings, some of those longings that are in you. And before we got on this call, I had a conversation with Milry. And Milry isn't this timely, how she said, especially after feeling lost for a pretty long time. I'm reading a book called 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think by Brianna Weist. I highly recommend it, bite-sized nuggets in the chapters. But one of the things, Anu, that she says, and I hope this brings encouragement to you, she says, it is a wonderful thing, and I'm paraphrasing here, if you feel lost, because that doesn't mean you're lost. It means that you're becoming more aware of where you are. And so for you, Anu, you are becoming more acutely aware of where you are. And that tells me that you're just one click closer to revealing, not discovering. You already know. You already know what your terrifying longing is. It's just, we've got to peel back some of this stuff, some of these voices that I'm going to talk about, that we've been trained to listen to, that distract us from that terrifying longing that, like a child, when we once saw it, you're going to actually find, as we talk here, you're going to look back in your childhood. So I used to be a shrink, right? I'm not going to call you to sit on the couch and look back at your childhood, but you are going to remember some things in your childhood that are going to be threads of this longing that have run through your life, your entire life. It's always been there. It's just that as we've grown up, as we've let that longing become, for lack of a better word, corrupted by what we should do, by the voices, we cover it up. It hasn't disappeared. You're not lost. You're actually one step closer to finding it. So I hope that offers you some encouragement, albeit I did not provide an explicit answer to your question.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I do want you to keep yours in mind. And if you don't have your terrifying longing in mind, I want you to keep in mind that you will discover it. It is in you. It's just waiting to be revealed. So I want to share with you mine, my terrifying longing. And it's terrifying because it's just like, how in the heck am I going to do this, right? There's one of those voices. How in the heck am I going to do this? That could potentially derail me, side trick me away from paying attention to what my terrifying longing is, which is to simply this: share information with people that makes them change the way they think so that they live their lives differently, so that they live their lives in a way that allows them to access that terrifying longing and deliver it. Because one, you have it. Two, nobody else can give it but you. And three, we need it. I need it. People in your life need it. That path, you've heard people say before, like Les Brown, you got to be the one to carve the path, pave the path and be the one to blaze the trail. This is true of all of us, particularly in a job search. Laura Vanderkam, in her book, 168 Hours, she says this very deftly. She says, if you expect anyone, any employer, any supervisor, any boss, any company, to have a job description that fits you perfectly, you are also expecting them to read your mind. Nobody else can create the job that you've been set aside to do. And so even if you're employed, if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're employed, whatever track you take, 90% of the responsibility of your job duties falls to you. Falls to you to make sure that you are incorporating that terrifying longing into that, and for you to advocate for that, for you to blaze that trail, and not to accept anything that anybody else has designed for you, that you co-design with one another. And now more than ever in this job market, you have such great leverage to co-design, to incorporate that terrifying longing. So I just want to encourage you with that, But that's my terrifying longing, is to change the way people think. And it's why I speak the way I do, with such conviction. I believe it for myself, no less than I believe it for you. I believe that I have a purpose that's been set aside for me, and nobody can do what I do in the way that I do it. Nobody is supposed to do that. Nobody is supposed to do what you can do. And so we spend, sadly, much of our lives trying to conform, trying to soften the edges, trying to be a well-rounded person. We're supposed to be pointy and edgy and rough and sharp. We're supposed to be different than everybody. And we have the opportunity to turn the tide for ourselves, for the children watching us, for our friends watching us. We have the opportunity to change the narrative. And this is not pie in the sky stuff. This is truth. And we're about to discover more of that